Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam, Om Swastiastu, Nama Budaya, and may peace be upon us all. I'm Mohammad from Senior High School State 9 of Jakarta. So, this household student loan mechanism in Indonesia. I strongly oppose that idea because there are three main problems that I found on that idea. The first one being that our socioeconomic isn't as good as Singapore's. As we all know, Singapore is a small country unlike us, which is a big country that have a lot of islands. Our country itself have a lot more students, have a lot more people that live in than Singapore does. So we can just copy a program from Singapore and paste it to Indonesia and hope that it will work well and give significant changes. It just cannot be done because our socio-economic isn't as good as Singapore. Singapore, even though they have less population, they have less citizens, they have less student, they have better socio-economic condition than Indonesia does, even though we are bigger, we have more islands, and we have more citizens and students. The second is that education is a constitutional right under the 1945 Constitution. As we all know, Indonesia have a constitution which is the 1944 Constitution that was made in 1945. This constitution said that education is one of the right, which is to enlighten the people of Indonesia. So, if you make students take loan just to get education, we have just betrayed our own promise, which is to give education, which is to enlighten the people of Indonesia. Education is a constitutional right, so we can't just make people take loan just to get it. The third problem that I encounter is you cannot build a sustainable educational system on a foundation of high interest loan, psychological stress, and unofficial jobs. As we all know, Indonesia have a lot of unofficial jobs, and as my opponents claim that after they have jobs, they will start to repay their loans, but not from their full salary. They will take around half or more salary of that person, of that student, just so that student can survive. Just surviving, not living, surviving from their salary, so that the students still have their little bit salary to live, and the rest is to pay. But as we all know that work is pretty hard to get in Indonesia, and that a lot of unofficial jobs came from that problem that Indonesia have less work spaces. So if students that graduated and cannot find a job yet, they will take unofficial jobs, which means that they will not start repaying what they have loaned. Then there is psychological stress. When the student is still repaying that debt, even though they need to they need to live, that means the student will develop a psychological stress in their self, and that is very dangerous for the student itself and our country. And also high interest rates. Why would a student take high interest rate just to get higher education? Even though they will get higher education, that doesn't guarantee that they can repay those debt that they took because of the high interest of it. So, my solution is that we create a higher educational fund that is funded by private big corporation around Indonesia. So this is how it works. The government releases a new policy, which is that big corporation in Indonesia, even though it's not from Indonesia or not, as long as it's private, is obligated to fund financially struggled student, at least 10 students for every year. After the student graduated from their universities, institute, etc., they will be obligated to work in these companies or corporations that have funded their education for at least 2 years before they can continue education. That is all. Thank you.